Mr. Quincy Branch, how you doing today, sir?
I am blessed and doing excellent, sir. How about you?
Quincy, I can't complain. I cannot complain, sir. Before we get started, I want to jump. This feels like it's always top of mind, especially in the insurance agency, but I have to know this first. What's one place that you waste more time than you maybe care to admit, and is there a solution for it?
Now, is this personally or professionally?
Quincy, you can take it any way you want.
uh, well, I guess I'll probably say social media, personally speaking. But at this point, given everything that's going on with COVID and everything else, it's sort of like my only real just sort of mind release to just scroll through random stuff. But I do, catch myself sometimes like, oh gosh, I've been scrolling on this for way too long. Let me get back to the real world. So if I had to say something, I would probably just say mindlessly scrolling through social media right now.
Well, at least you can have that sort of reality check moment and sort of catch yourself. Is there a place in the agency that you feel maybe time is wasted unnecessarily? I mean, that's a dangerous question. I don't know if we have enough time for the answer, but I'm going to give you a shot.
Whew, right. Yeah, I was going to say, and plus, I don't know who's going to listen to this, but but at the same time, man, I think like anything else, honestly, Joe, we asked ourselves that question, yeah, probably about a year ago now. And because of that, I'll say, with COVID, we were probably wasting too much time in agency just on inefficiencies, just with process inefficiencies, and not really embracing technology the way that we should have been. And I'm pretty sure, you probably know this to be the case where our technology platforms were one of those things where we had the Cadillac, but we were driving it like it was a Pinto, and it's like, okay, not taking advantage of those certain things. So we really have, man, over the last 12 months or so, with this COVID grace time, just taking time to step back and really just sort of realign ourselves and say, okay, no, we're going to do this smarter. We're going to implement this. And so, had you asked me that 12 months ago, I probably would have started crying. But now, no, we got light at the end of the tunnel.
All right. Well, then I have to know this. When did you stop crying? I guess. Like, what was the thing that said, like, I think I finally found my way?
Well, I think probably, and we're still in the midst of it, but really probably maybe about 9 months ago.
All
Um,
right.
and 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 I say that only because, like I say again, we had that sort of that epiphany moment, like, oh my gosh, we're not doing all this, and that's the part that you cry. You're like, ugh. But after that, I gotta admit, I got some really good, strong leaders within the organization, and so we rallied around that and came up with a plan. And after that, I stopped crying. It's like, okay, we got a plan. Let's continue to implement it, and we are probably maybe about another 60 days away from where we were 12 to 15 months ago to saying, okay, this is what we want to be with implementation of everything. And so, man, there's light. There's light.
So, what was that thing? What did you mark down, sort of pin up on the wall to like, where's that place that you wanted to be? Was there sort of a guiding mission?
Well, I think it was more so a couple of things, and even like our theme for this year, as an agency, we're calling it. This is our gap year. This is our growth, automation, and process year. So those are the things that we're focusing on. And really, it's one of those things where we really wanted to make sure that our processes were buttoned up. And so, all three of our departments went through this major undertaking of just revamping all of our processes. And right now, like I said again, we are literally about 60 days away from saying, okay, all that's buttoned up. We want to automate it, optimize some of our technology. Like, for example, we're an applied agency with Epic, and we were not, sir, maximizing Epic to the best of its ability. But now we've added a couple more widgets. We're going to be putting in Indio. We're going to be putting in Salesforce. So I'm really excited about some of those things that we're putting in. It's going to, it's been a pain up front, but it's really going to help us out long term.
Do you have a little applied hack for anybody? The one thing, little tiny thing that you sort of found, picked up on that made a big difference? Is there any little things you could point out, highlight?
Have someone internally that really understands and embraces this stuff and not at the agency owner level. Because if that person had to be me, Joey, we'd probably still be sitting where we were sitting at 12 months from now. But my hat goes off to my. I have an amazing operations technology officer, and he has really taken this initiative and ran with it. Our agency would not be where we are today if it wasn't for him helping us put this in.
Well, Quincy, you said something that is, I would say, relatively unique to most insurance agencies, and that is technology officer. So I don't know if do you realize that that's a somewhat unique position because I don't think most agencies have that.
No,
Um,
well, see, I would think just the opposite. And I guess just given where everything is going now, to me, if your business, whether it's insurance or not, Joe, is not embracing that aspect of it, man, you're gonna be behind. You're gonna be behind the eight ball and behind the curve. To me, gone are the days where just having a website and a social media presence, you know, considers you a technology agency. Our goal is really to be a digital agency in every sense of the word. And so, we are well on our way of doing that.
is there? How I guess well, one, how long have you had that position, and what sort of triggered you to say, listen, we need somebody in this capacity, sort of guiding the ship?
Well, about 3 years ago, I actually started to recruit him, if you will, and we went through about a 6 to 9 month recruiting process. He was working with us doing some smaller IT stuff on the side, and I think we both sort of felt like there was an opportunity for some alignment. But obviously, he had to make a major decision. Strictly, he was in a totally different industry, not insurance related at all. And so, he came in about 2 years ago now and just jumped in both feet and has really been leading the charge as far as cleaning our security up, as far as getting optimizing, where we're at with we switched over from TAM to Epic. So, that right there is a is a fun task all in itself. So, and then from there, like I told him, my main thing was I didn't want to be one of those agencies or the agency owner that just always found the new shiny object, but then after a minute just stop playing with it. So I wanted us to make sure that whatever we got, we actually had adoption with it and we actually integrated it into our operations. And so he's really been the person that's been holding me accountable to make sure that we do that, and really holding all of us accountable to make sure that we do that. So his main component is if we put a new process in, okay, is there technology that can help with that? Okay, we put a new workflow in. Okay, what can the systems that we have in place today really do to help with that? And again, not to replace people. So I want to be very clear. We still are human. We still touch stuff, but that's really our thing. How can we work smarter and not harder?
Yeah, so a couple things from there. One, how do you sell somebody on insurance in the technology capacity to say, hey, listen, it's okay over here. Why don't you come out and play? And then two, how do you make
Mhm.
sure the toys get played enough to where they feel worn, broken in, and like you actually really have gotten the most out of them?
Well, I think one was not so much about the insurance space when we're talking about that recruiting and technology, especially with that one particular person or any other people, which is more so selling the why. And I think for him especially, or in particular, Joy, he was more in line with the okay, I'm taking a business from here to here. It just happens to be insurance, and so okay, that's just a component of it. And I joke with him all the time now, but because of his immersion in it, he can talk, direct bill and agency bill and everything else. Like he has an insurance license, and he even told me, he said, "Man, I think I might even want to get my license, pretty quick just to have it, just to be, around it." But really, we've done so many things gearing up to that, just business related. I think he's just been more excited and pumped up about that aspect of it. And then I think internally for us, again, that was one of the biggest things we wanted to make sure that we did was not just roll out a product or a platform or whatever just because someone said, "Oh, we got this. Oh, yep, this happened. Roll it out." We really wanted to make sure it made sense. We really wanted to make sure that it spoke to the why of what we were doing. So I think when we talk about, internally, we've gotten some really good adoption with our technology, and even and that's old and that's young, individuals alike, because we've just taken the time to say, yes, this is not the next greatest thing. No, this is what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's why it makes sense to your process. Here's why it's going to make your life easier. Here's why it should make your life easier. Okay, let's run with it.
I don't know if you're gonna have an answer for this. I'm curious. What's the thing that's the shiniest out there right now that you think is maybe causing more harm than good in terms of distracting agents from things that maybe might be a little more cost effective, beneficial?
Man, you can go so many different ways with that because I just think I don't necessarily have one specific item, but I think, Joey, just that agency management systems, raters, technology platforms for communication, social media. To me, that there's so many different shiny, new objects out there. If you're not just focused on, okay, who do we want to be as a business, as an agency, and how does that fit and work with it? Yeah, you're always going to be chasing. And I can truly admit I was that person. I would go to a conference, and back in the day pre-COVID, when conferences happened, you hear a seminar, and you're like, oh my God, that was awesome. Come back to the office. Yep, we're going to sign up for this and do this. And then 6 months later, where's that product? I don't know. What are we doing? Have no clue.
How hard of a habit was that to break?
Extremely hard. And only because I was in that space where one, my mind is always thinking, trying to think ahead and want to say, okay, I know where we're at today, but this is where I want us to be. But I also had to, take a step back and realize that one, dial it back from that standpoint, but then also dial it back and realize that me, I'm not necessarily the person that needs to be or can be the person that walks this all the way out to fruition. Because I think that was also the pressure that I was putting on myself. Like, okay, well, hey, yep, we're going to get this shiny new toy, but I got to be the person that plays with it. I got to be the person that cleans it. I got to be the person that, puts it back up. When I realized, no, you be the ideal person, and you give the why we're doing this. Then you let the smart people get in there and really figure, okay, well, this is what we're going to do with it. Like Quincy gave us the why. This is the what. And then we go from there. But it was really hard.
What does it take to trust somebody to kind of, actually be able to catch that, take it and run with it, where some agency owners might be, again, still reluctant to, like you said, step or remove themselves from that process?
And I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself when I answer this one. Joy, for me, it's important that individuals that come into our organization buy into the vision. Yes, insurance is insurance. I get that. We can talk policies and all that all day long. But that person really needs to buy into the vision, because the vision is what's going to create long-term success. And then ultimately for me, what's going to create trust. Because as an agency owner, yeah, I got trust issues, if I'm just being honest, and rightfully so. I've been burned in the past, but at the same time, you kiss enough frogs, once they find your princess in this case, or your prince. But I think again, if people are not coming in just to do a task per se, but they're coming in because they truly do buy into the vision of the organization, then I think it's a lot easier for me as an agency owner to establish trust. Because now I know you're not just here for a paycheck. I know you're not just here to, or once we get these policies sold, then I'm whatever. No, you're here because you want to be here.
I guess the one thing I'm interested to know is there something that, kind of through this time where, basically every agency has really had to take a hard look at what they're doing, why they're doing it, really expand their capabilities. Is there something that you think you're going to hold on to tighter than maybe others that's really going to last in the industry that we've kind of learned through this time of saying, listen, we can no longer get by just doing it this way?
Joey, I got a quote on my desk, sir. Like sitting here right now, I've been watching this quote for the last like probably 15 years of my career. It just simply says, "Change is inevitable. Growth is an option." For me, that quote always is my true north. In business and or in personal. So to answer your question, I think you know a lot of what we're going to keep. COVID and all this time has taught us how to be adaptable. What they said, the great Bruce Lee said, "Be like water." And I think for me that's really what it is. We have to realize as the insurance industry to always realize to be like water, to always realize that okay, you know what, clients change, clients needs change, and if we truly are here to serve the client, then we our business model has to be adaptable. I think also on the flip side though, and I know you will agree with this. Our industry has stood the test of time, so we're doing something right. And through all the recessions and world pandemic and everything else, insurance industry has stood the test of time. So we're doing something right. But at the same time, I think the way we deliver that can always be made better. It can always be made different. So that's our biggest thing, and that's the mantra that we're taking really out of all this. Like, hey, guys, what do our clients want? How can we do business better? And I think just that mentality, Joe, it was what we're going to take out of these times.
So let's rewind back, 9, 10 months ago when you were potentially a little bit lost, maybe potentially sobbing into your own hands. What's something that you would say to your either future self or another agency owner who's back at that same point saying, listen, this I think is really maybe the best, easiest way to get started if you have no idea to kind of feel like you're on the right path to ignoring some of those things that maybe don't matter as much and really digging into the areas that will ultimately provide more results.
Wow. Yeah, I need a sofa because that's sort of a counseling question there, Joey. Huh? But if I could tell a 12-month or 15-month ago me, what I know today, or even like an AC owner starting today, would be don't be afraid to take the boat out of the water and really figure out what kind of boat you want to have first and foremost. And I say that only because, Joey, while I think, again, we've had some success throughout the years. We'll be celebrating 10 years as an agency this coming June. But at the same time, we've always been building the boat at sea. It's always, okay, put patchwork here, blah, blah. And I go back to it, and I'm not trying to say this in a disrespectful manner to anyone, that's been adversely affected by COVID, because we all have. But COVID really gave us a time to take the boat out of the water and just say, okay, what do we want to be? Do we want to be a speedboat? Do we want to be a tanker? Do we want to be, a tugboat? Let's fix whatever we want to fix. So when we put the boat back in the water this time, it's going to sail the way we want it to sail. It's going to go where we want it to go. I think, 12 months ago, me, 15 months ago, me, I would just say, stay the course. It gets better. And truly, like I said, again, now I see light at the end of the tunnel. That's even for me personally, if I'm just being very candid. I've realized that how to recheck my priorities, and not get so caught up in having to be here, there, and everywhere, and realize, this is where I should be. And so the last 12, 15 months or so, Joy, I've had more time and more energy and more focus and more joy working on my business instead of in my business, if that makes sense.
It certainly does, Quincy. And you came close to answering this next question, but I'm going to answer it anyway, see if it's a little bit of a different answer. So I got three more questions for you, Quincy.
Sure.
And very simply, what's one thing that you hope you never forget?
Wow. To slow down, to smell the roses, to actually celebrate the wins and take in the losses. But yeah, to slow down.
Now, on the other side of that, what's one thing that you still have yet to learn?
uh, Celebrate the wins.
All right.
And I say that only because, the late great Kobe Bryant, I sort of like and have that Mamba mentality where I'm always just thirsting and hungering for that next big thing, that next thing. But really taking time to just, whether, nothing grandiose, but just to celebrate. Just say, okay, whew, that was cool. All right. So still working on that one.
Last question, Quincy. If I were to hand you a magic wand of sorts to reshape, change, alter, speed up insurance in any way, shape, or form that you kind of see fit, what is that thing? Where is it going? And what's it doing?
Wow. A magic wand. I think if I could wave my magic wand and sort of do a dippity doo Disneyland, I would solve the issue of diversity in our industry. And again, I don't know what that magic wand solution looks like, but I think, our industry realizes that we need diversity. And I'm not just saying from race, for obvious reasons. I think there are gender, race, creed, color, all kinds of different diversity aspects that we could be better at. And so if I really could, I would wave that wand to do that.
Hi, Quincy. This has been fantastic. I'm going to leave it right there, sir.
All right. No, it's been awesome, sir. And again, I appreciate you.